When I was growing up, I was a really smart kid and shy. I gave nobody any problems whatsoever, and I really enjoyed learning stuff. And when I was 14, I started going to Columbia University on the weekends to study math and physics. And in addition, I used to go at night or during the day to the local community college to study math. I was in some of the classes with your older
with
brother.
my brother, yeah.
And I was a really good kid. I never talked back or anything like that. And then when I was 15, I flew out to Oregon State University to study math for the summer. And I was treated like an adult out there, like a college kid. And something happened. Like I grew up that summer. I can't explain it, but I came out of my shell. And I found the prettiest girl, and I never would do this. I asked her out. We became very good friends. And I discovered all kinds of things out in Oregon that summer. I lost my virginity for sex and for drugs and discovered a lot with music. And when I came back that summer to become a junior in high school, I was a completely different person than when I started. And I felt like, I was completely, I can't explain it, but I was just different. And I was going to Columbia on the weekends, and all the kids at Columbia had long hair. This is not because they were great rock and roll fans necessarily, it's kind of the Einstein look. And I really felt like I fit in there. And then I get this letter, excuse me, from my principal informing me that my hair is offending him and he needs to cut it for me. And I said, for the first time in my life, no. I'll wear a wig, I'll wear a hat, but you don't own me 24/7. And plus, I was very happy at Columbia. This is the first time in my life I felt like I fit in somewhere. And you're going to take that away from me? You're going to make me cut my hair? Be odd man out? And I said no. And that was the beginning of the end for me. My high school career was going to take a completely different direction. I said no, and from that point on, they would suspend me, and then they would give me detention, and I spent hours and hours in after-school detention. And as a result, I started making friends with people I never would have associated with before. Very cool people. I didn't even know those people existed. And as a result, again, my life changed. I started doing things I normally wouldn't have done. I started listening to music in a different way, and as a result, I became a completely different person as a result of doing this. Like they say, the Breakfast Club movie. That was my story about how I became the wonderful person I am today.
But I'm grateful for that, because if you didn't turn into a bad boy, I wouldn't have wanted anything to do with you. Because, like I said, when I first saw you smoking across the street, I thought you were just really cool, because you did. You had this little long hair, even though it was kind of like a Prince Valiant, and it wasn't
that was a style.
long. I know.
Give me a break.
Yeah, but I started asking around because I was in a different school, and somebody said that you were like the Bob Dylan of Middletown, and then another one said you were a musician and this and that. But the theme that ran through everyone that I spoke to was that you were like really, really smart. Oh, and you were so cute. You had those little wire-rimmed John Lennon glasses. Remember that?
Yeah.
And anyway, you fascinated me, because I thought, wow, he's this really smart guy, but he's he's into music, and you were just so cool. You just carried yourself. You just had a je ne sais quoi about you. I don't know what it was, but I just was. And then, what did it when you joined the Sapiens? Because before you were in it, all my girlfriends and we just followed them around all the time. When I wasn't going out with anybody there, but the whole crew, Joycey and Anita, they were all with a different member of the Sapiens. So then when you joined, then I got to be with one of you. But I schemed, because I did. I schemed. I had a big plan. You were like a spider in my web. But I wanted to meet you. So there was a girl in high school that I went to school with. but she was a cheerleader. I never hung out with the, cheerleaders or anything. And but I became friends with her, and I feel really bad about that because she was such a sweetheart, and I only befriended her so I could go to the party where she had the Sapiens coming. Anyway, as it turns out, though, in my defense, we became real friends. But that's how I met you. And
yeah, well, we had an odd night off. We usually played about 3 or 4 times a week, and we play in Middletown. And the night before, we didn't have anything to do. So we went to the party, and she was Ronnie Black's girlfriend in Middletown. He had
yeah, well, so was Anita.
Yeah. Had a girl in every port.
Yeah, every port, couple at every port.
So anyway, so I go to this party, and I meet this wonderful, interesting girl, Jill, and we hit it off right from the jump, man.
Right from the jump. Yep. I mean.
And I didn't know she had was scheming to meet me.
Oh, yeah.
I would have met her anyway.
Yeah, my plan worked.
Yeah.
And then we started seeing each other, and I went to all the dances that you played at, and then we just back then where did we see each other? I think we just saw each other in town and things like hanging out. But finally, we were seeing each other for a couple months. And I wanted to bring you over to meet my parents. And it was Easter. My whole family was there. And I was so excited.
And I wanted to impress them, because that's the kind of guy I am. And I was playing we had a gig on Easter Sunday. And we were playing at the Officers Club at a Air Force base in Newburgh, New York. And General Breedlove requested our band specifically because we played a lot of blues tunes, and he liked the blues. And so we do this gig, and we're all dressed up in suits and everything because it's really important. And then I hitchhike like 30 miles from Newburgh to Middletown to meet the parents. And I'm really presentable, and I'm in math classes with her older brother, and I figure, man, I'm going to be a hit. And this, sky's the limit. And I show up, and then we're happy talk and everything, and I play the piano, and what do I play? I play some blues tunes. Anyway, and then I leave, thinking everything's copacetic, right? And then I call her up, how'd it go? And she goes, I can't see you anymore.
Well, the whole thing was, like I said, I thought everything was going great. You were polite, blah, blah, blah. You had your suit on. And the next morning at breakfast, my mother just says, you're not going to see that boy anymore. And I didn't even ask because I knew it didn't matter. I never asked anymore. It was just, you can't do this, you can do that, and that was that. And I thought to myself, yeah, well, you try to stop me.
Never tell a teenager you can't do anything, man.
And definitely not me.
Yeah.
Because,
I just put gasoline on the fire.
Yep. But they weren't going to stop me. But you really influenced me, like, a lot. But, I mean, in the bad stuff, too. But because of you, I fell in love with Dylan, like, and remember I wanted Blonde on Blonde. You told me what albums to get. You told me to get Blonde on Blonde, Blues Project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who
Al
else?
Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them. But I remember I got those records, and oh my gosh, I used to listen to them all the time. And I remember my parents didn't like it. They didn't like that music, and I'd play it really loud. But anyway, yeah,
It was a good period for music. I mean, everybody says that. But that period, the middle 60s, I mean, that was a great time for music because it was changing completely from rock and roll to rock. And all this other stuff was coming up, bubbling up underneath. So there's a lot of interesting new music out to explore. And I know for me it was great listening time.
And the thing was, you turned me on to all this music that wasn't on the radio. Because you were never going to hear Blues Project on AM radio, WABC. You were never going to hear
Cousin
that.
Brucey would never play that. Yeah.
No, exactly.
No Time Like the Right Time. That's not going to be on there.
Yeah.
But then FM radio came, and of course you could buy records back then too, and that was popular.
Well, that's the only way I listened to it. Well, I didn't have an FM radio, so.
Yeah. So
But so we had to sneak around.
that we did.
Yeah, we did. Oh my gosh! If it wasn't for Anita and her mother, we would probably not have been able to see each other as much, because her being my best friend, or she rather being my best friend, really helped me. And back then, like, no cell phones or anything, and you had a house phone. And remember, you couldn't call me. You weren't allowed to call
Yeah.
me, so you'd have to get Anita to call me, and then so I could talk to you, so we could scheme when we were going to see each other.
Or go downtown and hang out on the corner, wait for somebody,
Right.
wait for you to drive by or something, or a
Right.
girlfriend to drive by.
Right,
Yeah, it was
right.
pretty rough.
And then, I don't know, when I couldn't meet you at Anita's house, the only place we went was to one of your crash pads.
Well, at that time, I was doing well because I was in the band. I moved out of my father's house when I was 17, when I was a senior in high school, because I was making enough money, and I had an apartment all the way through the end of the summer.
It was so tough seeing you. I just, I was so in love with you, and I just wanted to be with you, and I got really crazy there for a while. I remember that I had a birthday party, I think, in the basement. It was an unfinished
gee,
basement.
Yeah, man.
And a
Oh.
couple of my girlfriends stayed over, and we hid you and two other guys. I don't remember who you were. I put you in the furnace room. And then we waited for my parents to go to bed. And then you guys came out, and we were hanging out and having a wonderful time.
Oh, that's not the end of it. Are you kidding me?
No,
We're gonna
no, there were a couple close calls.
But we went to the party. We were not supposed to be there, and then after a while we snuck out and went home. And then Jill calls up and says, "Why don't you come back over?"
And I called you and said, come back over.
Yeah.
And the phone, the extension cord upstairs made a click, click, click when you dialed, and I was calling from the basement phone. And I kept calling you and calling you back, and I kept, please come over. And you wouldn't. Anyway, they were listening upstairs.
Repeat that part. I wouldn't come over, right?
You wouldn't come over.
Okay.
You wouldn't come back. You
Wouldn't
were
come
already
back.
there, but you wouldn't come back. So all of a sudden, the girls and I, we hear this, bam, 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 bam. People coming, my brother, my mother, my father, running down the stairs. My father comes in, bursts into the basement with a baseball bat, and he's screaming, "Where's that son of a bitch? I'm going to kill him." And then the two
Because
girls.
they overheard the conversation.
Yeah, they were listening in
yeah.
on the extension, and they're hearing me begging you to come over. So my father's called me every name in the book, but, and then the two girls ran out because they were so scared. They ran down to Benji's house, and then I was alone. I remember running up the stairs, my father smacking me on my butt the whole time, and that was really awful. I was grounded like 2 months for that one. But because my parents went out, they went out all the time, and every time, like the
They
second
were very social.
they were, thank goodness, and every time that they would go, you'd sneak you in, and then oh my gosh, remember that one time they came home early because my bedroom was by the driveway, and we saw the lights coming in, and you were stark naked. We were in bed. And I said, "You got to get out of here. You got to get out of here." And you grabbed your clothes. I don't know if you
And I hear them, and one's coming in the side door, one's coming in the back door. So the only egress is the front door. Whoa! And I don't know how to work all those locks and everything. And I hear him coming in. I go, "Oh man, the end is near." And I went to the front door and I opened it, and I'm buck naked. I have my clothes under me, and I run through the front door, and I go to the porch, jump over the porch, and then skedaddle out of there.
See, I remember it that I had to throw your boots at you or something.
Probably,
You didn't have
yeah,
your boots.
yeah.
And I threw them over. Oh my gosh! And then
The things you do for love,
I
right?
know. But then I remember I did make it back upstairs
Yeah.
and in bed, and my heart's, it's like
and
cartoon heart, bam, bam.
But where all that led to you.
To me, yes, getting pregnant. Thank you
Right.
very much. Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's not such a good thing back then, Johnny.
I know.
I know. I mean, it was terrifying because I knew I had to tell them, and I knew things were not going to be good.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was the end for me.
Yeah,
There was nothing worse could happen to me than
Yeah.
getting pregnant.
So, yeah, suddenly our relationship became serious instead of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reality came in.
One thing though was when I told you, you were positive. Well, we'll get married. We'll just get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was going to happen. Yeah, because at that point, I was still, I think I was 15 when I got pregnant. Because it was like a month later I turned 16, so and you were, you were 19.
No, I was 18.
Were you? Okay. Well, it was like okay. But, yeah, I was pregnant.